Hi, this is jpeg2RAW, show number 77, and tonight we have returning to us Scott Wyden Kivowitz. Kivowitz. Did I say that right?
You got it.
If you listen to the show, you know I mess these up every week. Scott was. I started the show off by saying show number 30. That's the last time Scott was on the show number 30, back when he shared all of his photos with a lot of his photos with us. And I was following Scott way before then. I've been following him ever since. And he is what I consider an expert in the topic we're going to be talking about tonight, which is SEO. And if you don't know what SEO is, it's search engine optimization. And Scott will give us some more information on that. But before we get to Scott, I want to talk a little bit about things we have going on. Tim, you get a little bit of news sitting behind you. You want to share that real quick?
Yes, I do. I just bought a Sony 70-200 2.8 G lens. I've been looking at this lens for probably a couple of months now and couldn't spring the $2,000 that it would cost. I had been looking on eBay, and I really didn't want to buy one off of eBay. And this past weekend, I was actually out at a Sony outlet store, and they had it there for $1,600, a factory refurbished with 0% over 12 months. I was like, well, you know what? You talked me into it. So it's not as heavy as I remembered the first time I picked it up.
And the good news is, as Gina asked out in chat, it's the next giveaway.
Yeah. That's my next giveaway.
Or if you really want to be nice, you can do it live on the show tonight.
Yes. Okay.
And
yes.
you work for UPS, so you can just pop it right in when you get to work tomorrow. Bam.
Oh wow, Mike, you took this wind right out of my sails. That's exactly what I was not going to do.
Well, congratulations, Tim. I'm sure you're going to love that thing, and maybe every once in a while you can post some photos that you've taken with it.
That's a nice idea.
in the Facebook group. There you go. So I wanted to share my shirt before we got too far along. Can you see that?
Where are my peeps at?
Where are my peeps at? I like peeps, and this is a great time of year to be getting peeps.
Yeah, but I can only eat like one or two of them. After that, it's like,
well, my wife is only going to let me eat one or two of them. So, but, you know. Anyway, I also want to talk about our photo challenge we have going on in the Facebook group right now. This month is signs, and I love seeing what everybody does, however everybody interprets that, and goes out and gets signs, and whatever else the topics have been. So we've gotten a lot of great entries this month on signs, and you think about when you think about the subjects we've covered, like black and white and minimalism and world of motion, some of those things. There's no end to the number of topics we can discuss. I got a fly come around here. There's no end to the topics we can cover in there, and I think a lot of people are enjoying being part of that process and getting in there, and we're having a lot of good interaction. If you're not part of the Facebook group, we're up to almost 750 now, Tim, and I think that we'd love to have you come on in and join us, and sharing the somebody's talking about my peeps out in chat and it distracted me.
You're just getting hungry, I could see.
Everybody's talking about the peeps.
So now we're talking back on peeps. There's a place where you can go and get frozen yogurt, frozen ice, and they had peeps flavored. Oh my gosh, that stuff was great. Anyway, let's get back to the topic at hand. If you're not part of our Facebook group, we'd love to have you. Come on out. It is easy to find. Just go to Facebook/groups/jpeg2RAW. You have to ask to enter, and then you get approved really fast. We'll bring you in, and then you can start entering the contest, and you can start voting on it. Only people who are members of the Facebook group can vote on the on the images each month. So we got that. We got the big thing we have going on right now is we have the giveaway that ends this weekend of the Topaz Labs plugin bundle. And we're going to see if I can pull this off. Probably not. If you go to our website, let me see. Yeah, here we go. If you go to our website and then go to giveaway, and you can also get to it from our Facebook page. You go to the we'll see if this works. And here's the entry. You just go to this, to jpeg2RAW.com, go down to the bottom, it tells you here what you need to do as far as entering it. You got to do 3 things. You've got to like our page, like Topaz Labs, and share the post that's on our Facebook page. Come down to the bottom and then enter into the little entry here, and it ends in 4 days, Tim. So if you haven't entered yet, you need to make sure you enter that soon, so that you have a chance to win. And then next week we will pick the winner.
I guess I'll be going out this weekend.
You're going out this weekend and doing what?
Take pictures.
Oh, okay. All right, so we got that. What else we have? Oh, we have a new. We lost. What is it? Adorama. We lost Adorama.
Yes.
As a what do you call it? Affiliate. We lost Adorama as an affiliate because of the tax laws here in Georgia. But we've picked up now DreamHost, who's our provider for all of our website here. So if you are thinking about getting a website, and that's part of what we're talking about tonight, is a website, and look at DreamHost. There's a link next to live chat right now if you're watching this live on our page, and they give you. I've been with them since 2005, so every web host provider is going to have challenges, but I've not had that many difficulties. They've been really good for what we do, and you can use some of the things that Scott's going to talk about. Everything that we talk about that I know of right now, so I'm sure Scott's going to give us some new stuff. I am doing through this host. Now they don't build the website out for you. You use WordPress and you use your own themes and whatever else you want to use, but you can use them as a host. Yeah, that's okay. Anything else, Tim?
No, I got my lens. I'm happy.
Well, if you listen to us on one more thing, and then we'll get to Scott. If you do listen to us on iTunes, or if you even have iTunes installed on your computer, and you don't get us that way, but if you have iTunes on there, go out and find jpeg2RAW. Find the audio version. There's 3 versions. There's audio and two videos. Find the audio version and leave a review for us, and it helps us move up in the ranks on iTunes.
Well, if everybody wants, they can leave a review on each one as well, right?
They could. They could. There is okay. I do have something else. Heather Chesky out there in the Facebook group mentioned that she lost a hard drive recently on her Mac, and Macs and PCs. It doesn't really matter which one you use. They both have, for most of them, are going to have spinning drive. Some of the newer ones have a SSD, but whether it's SSD or spinning drive, they will fail. And if you listen to the show, that's the one thing I preach the most is backup. Heather, fortunately, was backing up. She put a post out there in the Facebook group and said that she's glad she's backing up. She only lost the images she was working on. If you lose a hard drive, you're probably going to lose something. The key is to not lose everything, and to lose as little as possible. And it sounds like that's what she did. She was doing it right, and she only lost the few images she was working on. And then I don't know if you saw this photo here, Tim. The one in the Facebook group that got a lot of comments. The one with the picture of the baby on the top of the Corvette engine.
Corvette. Yeah.
And got a lot of comments. That was a composite, if I remember right. So she did not actually have like the engine running and the baby just lying there. That
wouldn't have been sleeping if the engine was running.
Yeah. Well, it could have been a purr, and the baby's just kind of being rocked to sleep. But no, it is a composite. The baby was safe, and it's one thing if you are taking photos like this, you should make sure, most of these ones you see like this are composite, and you need to make sure you take the safety of your client and especially if it's an infant and an account, and not do something that's going to put them at risk. And that's what this photographer did it right. She did do this as a composite. I liked it. I thought, what I saw of it was that maybe the Corvette was his baby before he had a baby, and now this is his new baby, and it's kind of the two babies together. I don't know if that's exactly what she meant, but that's how I saw it. And you do have to be careful when you're doing that with babies. I will say that if you're doing any kind of photography that involves other people, you probably should look at having insurance, some liability insurance, because you don't want something to happen and then get sued and you lose everything. In case of a baby like this, in case of another person, it doesn't even have to be a baby. In case of another person, if anything did happen to them, the insurance is not going to be enough to make you get over the 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 feeling that you hurt somebody else. So make sure you're safe when you're doing these things.
I actually, my nephew who turned 1 a couple months ago, the week he was born, I took a photo of him on top of a stack of books, and even though he was right off the carpet, I still was so nervous.
Yeah.
And I mean, a couple days old, he's not gonna move. So it was, but I still got nervous.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Because if it starts falling, that you're falling with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yep. Well, Scott, we want to go ahead and get to you. And for somebody, since you've been on the show, the last time you were on the show was show number 30, which I didn't even look up to see how long ago that was. But since we're on 77, I got to imagine that was a long time ago. It feels like a long time ago. And so we probably have a number of listeners who weren't around back when you were on show number 30. And so if you wouldn't mind just doing a little introduction of yourself and what you do.
Sure. So I'm a photographer in New Jersey, and I shoot portraits, landscapes. I do a lot of corporate work, so businesses will hire me to either shoot the portraits for them or their facilities, things like that, products, whatnot. In addition to being a freelance photographer, I'm also the community and blog wrangler at Photocrati, who makes a WordPress theme. We make a WordPress plugin. Our theme is for photographers. Our plugin is basically gallery management, so anyone, graphic designers, sketch artists, anyone who needs portfolio management. And we also have a couple other websites like the Photographers SEO community, which you'll hear about tonight, and we have a website that's for wedding photographers. It's just a directory of the best wedding photographers in the world. So we do a lot just around photography and art in general.
Okay. And we got somebody out in chat. Danielle Foster says she used Photocrati. Did I say that right?
Great. Photocrati.
Photocrati? Like Haya?
It sounds like karate, but it's actually not. It's okay. Yeah, it's just my boss was looking for a clever photo word, and it just sort of flows. So.
Oh no, I'm going to remember that now forever. Photocrati. Okay, so tonight's topic is SEO, and I know when I put this, I was thinking when I put this out there and Facebook page that it's going to be there's some topics that I really like. I like landscape, and let me bring us back to us. I like landscape photos. I like tech stuff, that kind of thing. It doesn't appeal to everybody, but something like this, I was thinking the same thing. SEO, that sounds kind of boring. It's just, why do I need to worry about that? But if you are a photographer, if you have any web page, photography or not, SEO is something that you really need to know something more about if you want, your page to ever be found. And who does a web page and not want it to be found by anybody, unless it's just a photo sharing with your family, and then there's probably better ways to do it. But if you have a web page that you want people to find and show up in Google search, SEO is something you need to know something about. Can you tell us a little, what is SEO?
So SEO is just there's some small tweaks and some pretty major things that you can do to your website, both on your website and off of your website. And I'll explain what that means in a second. In order to get your website at the top of Google and Bing and Yahoo for specific keywords. So that's one of the things that a lot of people overlook, is the fact that they have to optimize individual pages or articles or posts for one keyword each, not multiple. So one of the biggest mistakes is you go to a photographer's website and they're plastering all these keywords all over it, trying to rank for all these keywords. That's actually going to hurt more than help. So basically, on-site SEO is anything that you can do to your actual website to boost your chances, increase your chances of ranking well. And off-site is anything you can do outside of your website that will help you rank well. And the biggest thing you can do is to get links back to your website. That's going to help you more than anything else with SEO. And I can go more into that if you want. It's like the ways to do it, or if you got other questions, I can go to those next.
Okay, so you're saying getting other people to link back to your page.
Yeah.
So how about I just create another page that just all it does is link back to me?
Right. So you could do that. However, the page rank, the domain authority of that website linking to you actually is relevant into that algorithm from the search engine. So yes, there's a few things. One is that, and the other is if you own the site and Google sees, because Google can see the who is, the who owns it, who is hosting it, what server it's on. If they see that both of those sites are on the same server, that's not going to help. That's going to hurt. What the domain authority is basically like, how old is the domain? Is the who is info public, or are you hiding it? How fast does a site load? So all these different things. There's probably 100 different factors that go into it, but it all determines how trustworthy that website is. So if you get a link back from, let's say, Mashable, which is not photography related, but let's say you do, that's going to help you dramatically. But if you get a link back from xyz.com that was just created, an hour ago, it's not going to help you at all.
Okay. So now the whoas thing you just mentioned, if people don't know what that is, when you register a domain, like jpeg2RAW, when you register a domain, you've got to give them, it's Mike Howard and here's my address and all that kind of information with whoever you bought the domain from. So you can make that stuff public or private. And if you make it private, it hurts your rankings.
It's not much, but it definitely does hurt. It's not, if you want to be open about it, because you want search engines to know that you're a real person, that you're not just a machine posting, like auto blogging basically.
Yeah.
So the more things you can do to let the search engines know that you are a person, the more trustworthy they will see you as. So yeah, you want it. I see there's a question that do you want it to be, is it better to keep it private or public? It's definitely better to keep it public. Now, you don't have to put, you can create a Gmail account that is just for that purpose. So if you did a who is of my site, you're going to see a Gmail account I don't use.
Yeah.
So the information, the address is real, my phone number, I'm using a Google Voice phone number. So you can, do things to make it so that random people won't see all of your information, but you do want it to be public.
Yeah, I have an email address that I use for all those sites that want your email address. It's a site, it's email address give to all of them, and I never check it. It's just a junk email address. Right. So the couple questions out in chat as we keep going is, what about links from Facebook? So you go on your Facebook page and maybe somebody else links back to your website. Does that help you at all?
Okay, so here's where it gets interesting, because up until maybe mid-2012, it wouldn't help you whatsoever. I do see that someone mentioned it's a no-follow link. No-follow basically means when you link to someone, you can actually go into that HTML for the link and put REL equals no follow, which is telling the search engines, yes, I'm linking to this website, but don't pass any SEO juice. Don't give it any credit for SEO, because I don't want you to do that, So Facebook, a lot, what else? Like Google Plus, I think, is even doing it. So yeah, social media links don't help you as far as link building goes. But there's something now called author rank, which is becoming extremely important, and that actually includes social media links. So for 100% true SEO, no, it does not help you. But the way that it's twisting now and turning, search engines are looking at social media, so they're seeing it, and if you go to Google now, you have personalized results. Right. That is basically starting to use author rank. So they're seeing your activity on Google Plus, what you share, what gets +1, all that stuff. And Bing has Facebook, and so on and so forth. So they're all starting to see these. So as they see this activity, it's going to help you overall with personalized results or suggested results, is what Bing calls it. turned on. And eventually it'll be even when they're off. It's just, right now it's just sort of, they're building the algorithms.
Okay. And you also mentioned something about speed, the speed of your site. How much does that play into the rankings?
More so than ever, because as the search engines are really starting to get things precise, one of the ways that they can crack down on junk websites is get rid of the ones that load slowly. You know, derank the ones that's not really just get rid of them. But Google has a tool that you can put into your the Chrome browser called Speed Test, and you can actually see what is slowing down your website. These even WordPress plugins that you can install. One's called P3 Plugin Profile, which will take a look at all the plugins and stuff going on in your site and see what's slowing it down. So it does. I don't know the exact amount that it's playing in your rankings, but it's definitely playing a role where you want your site to be as fast as possible, and that's where having a good host comes into play.
Mm-hmm. And also optimizing your site. For that, there's
Yes.
things you can do like caching and all that kind of stuff you can do to do it. And I'm not sure if you mentioned just now the one that we used before. And the reason, your name came up several shows back whenever we, after a show, we did probably 30 minutes of an after show. And we were talking about SEO, and all of us were talking about all these different things we thought we knew. And the further we got into it, we realized, we don't really know as much as we thought. But we did live speed test of each one of our sites. The one person that's not here tonight is Kathleen, who's another one of our co-hosts. We did her site, we did my site, we did a couple other people's sites live on the show, that speed test. And now I can't remember the name. What was the one you mentioned just now as far as where to go?
One was Google's Speed Test. It's a Chrome extension. And one is P3 Plugin Profile, or Profiler.
It may have been the first one you mentioned, because we went to a website to do it, and I thought it was a Google page speed or speed test.
Yeah, they do have a website as well, a web version. If you do a Google for a Google page speed test, I'm sure it'll show up there.
Yeah. Okay. So what can we do? What can the photographer do? Now, I guess we maybe need to break this up. If you have your own hosted site like we do, jpeg2RAW does,
Mm-hmm.
where we own the domain, we're on a host where, we install WordPress, we install all the stuff ourselves. They do help you out. It's not, you have to do everything. Versus maybe like WordPress.org, or what's the one where they give you the free information?
WordPress.com is where they host it.
.com, or some of the other places like that where maybe they're like pre-building everything for you, and the amount that you can get under the hood is somewhat limited.
Right.
Is there a difference between those two types of setups?
Well, yeah. So with the ones where they have control over it, where they host it, the speed is usually fantastic because they're running these, heavy-duty servers. They're running fast servers. They've got caching going on so that when a person sees the site, it gets downloaded to their machine and up to the server, and it's next time you go to it, it's almost instant. So yeah, they're great as far as speed, but they're limited as far as your SEO functionality. So not every plugin and not every theme is available for the .com version of WordPress, whereas with the .org, if you self-host it, your possibilities are endless. Right. So, one thing you can do, let's say for DreamHost as an example, right? So you have a .org website. You're hosting it yourself, a WordPress site yourself on DreamHost. You're on their $8 a month, whatever, shared hosting. I was on that. That was the second host I ever used, and it was fine. It was fine for many years. I was using it for maybe 8 years, and eventually my site started gaining too much traffic. I had to bump up from their shared hosting to their VPS, which is a virtual private server. Mm-hmm. And I had to do that because it was the only way I could control the bandwidth. That's the only way that I could ensure that my site would not crash when I had 300 people on it at once.
Right.
So I took the step up and I was doing their VPS, and then eventually I even outgrew their VPS.
Oh wow.
So I had to switch hosts. completely. I didn't want to take the plunge up to their dedicated server. The price was just too much. But that helps. So if someone's on a shared hosting, let's say DreamHost, and their site is slow and they need that extra speed, just going up to a VPS, they're going from maybe $8 a month to maybe $20 a month. Mm-hmm. Not that much of an increase, but if your website's traffic is that much and your bandwidth is that much, you should be making money from it to cover that expense.
And we moved jpeg2RAW to a VPS, and I got a few things where I can, on the fly, change the amount of RAM. I actually have a script running that checks it every minute and will increase or decrease the amount of RAM, so I pay the minimum amount. And recently made a change. I don't want to get too geeky here, but made a change to the PHP, which uses a lot less. But I just went to the site. It's actually developers.google.com, and then you go to the page speed insights, and I'm going to try and show it here in just a second, and I can show you what we got. I don't know how, I don't know if you're watching the chat, right, Scott?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The text is going to come through a little blurry, so I don't know if you're going to be able to read that. But we got a ranking of 91 out of 100.
That's good.
So how good should we be looking for? What is too bad? What is too low?
If you can get it over 70, then you're already doing well.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of things that you just can't do. A lot of things that are just, too costly to do, too time-consuming to do. So, for example, it is a little fuzzy, so I can't read it perfectly, but, defer parsing, I think it says, of JavaScript, or combine the CSS. It's just, it's almost impossible.
You can read that? That is awesome.
Sort of. It's fuzzy, but
you got to enlarge the screen just a little bit.
Yeah. So, you'd have to be a web developer in order to be able to do all those. You'd have to be a Java programmer to be able to do all those. So most people won't be able to. So if you can do as much as you can, you're in the right direction. Try to get over 70. That should be a goal, to get over 70. 100 would be ideal, but, good luck.
Well, we out in chat, we got 88 out of 100 for Gina. Katya got 98 out of 100.
Wow.
And DJ got 94. So wow, those are
nice.
all really good.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. All right. So let me go back to us, and so that's the page speed. So now you're looking at what you need to do to try and make your page faster. The links, external links that you can have, all those helping your ranking a little bit. Where do you want to go next?
Do you want me to talk about how to get some external links? Like what?
Oh, that would be awesome. We would all love to know how to get external links.
Okay, so here's a great example, right? One website that Photocrati owns. Okay, I'm just going to use some Photocrati websites because we've got a lot of services where a lot of websites where you can get backlinks. Any photographer can get backlinks. So if you want to load up 7by5.net.
Hold on.
So 7by5.net is basically we call it a photography magazine. It's a blog. It's mostly contributor driven, and on the site you can anybody can go there and submit an article about a photograph or about a project you're doing, something. We've even got a what's in your bag section.
Is it 7by5.net?
Yeah, all spelled out. Sorry, all spelled out.
Oh, so,
okay.
I'm trying to get it too. I'm like, I can't find
it. While you're going, Gina in the chat is asking what a backlink is. A backlink is literally just a link from another site to yours.
Oh boy.
You got it, Mike?
I think I'm getting close.
I put a link in chat.
Yeah,
if you want to just click on it.
I got it. Well, it's not that easy, Tim. I won't go into why. It's multiple computers going on. Okay, so I got 7by5 pulled up.
Yeah. So that's this is one of the websites we own. Now, if you hover over contact, you'll see that there's a drop down where you can actually submit to 3 different categories. Contact in the top menu.
A photo profile, right, for 7by5, and a look in your bag.
Yep. So those are 3 different categories where you can submit an article, and by submitting an article, you're getting a link back to your site.
Okay.
Okay, so anybody, it's basically writing a guest article. We have another one that's another site that's DSLRblog.com. And same thing, we've got, you can submit, this one is more like the story behind the image. You can submit a photo and write about the photo, why you shot it, how you shot it, where you shot it, what it's for, all that stuff. There's a submit an image right at the top. And so anyone can go there and just submit an article, and they get a backlink.
Okay.
So we've got all these sites like this that we run. That these are ways that you can get backlinks. So a little trick to find places to find places that accept guest articles is to go to Google and you type in. I think it's in text. If you type in
INTEX.
Do it in text with one word, and then in quotes after that.
Oops.
You can write like guest post or write for us, and it will bring up. I'm going to put this in the chat. It'll bring up different results of websites that use the text right for us.
And I wrote in guest post, in text, guest post. Do you want me to say right for us?
Well, you can whatever text you want.
Okay.
You can put in, like I just put in the chat, in text space quote right for us. And if you do that in Google, you'll get websites that actually use that. So you can make it more precise, and you can do something like in text space photography space quote right for us, and now you're getting sites that have the word photography and the term right for us.
I zoomed in a little bit so you can read it a little bit better. Okay, yeah. So that's a place you can go to rights for some of these different places to submit articles. Can you submit articles that you already have on your own site, maybe?
So that definitely don't do that.
Okay.
So
Definitely don't do that.
yes, definitely don't do that. We get that a lot. We actually get a lot of people that do that, and I use a tool that will check for plagiarism. So it'll actually scan through the content that people send us, and we'll check it against the search engines and see, is this already showing up? And if it's below 50%, we don't publish it. Because then we know, they literally copied and pasted it. So
what do you mean below 50? Wouldn't you mean above 50%?
If it's below 50% of plagiarism, like what this website calls plagiarism, we won't publish that article. It has to be 100% or above 50%
original,
brand new for us. Okay. Yeah, original for us to publish it.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, when you say plagiarism, it's even if it's your own article. And I wasn't recommending going out and stealing other people's articles.
Yeah. No, it's just the website I use, the tool I use, they just call it plagiarism.
Right.
So it's looking for unique content, not something that is posted elsewhere.
Right. Because search engines don't want to see duplicate content. They want to see unique, fresh content. So if you're doing the same thing, the exact same thing in multiple places, the search engines won't know. They will know because they'll know which was published first, but it'll give all that SEO juice to the first place it was published.
Okay, got it. All right. So if you're gonna do that, you need to do a new article just for that site, and intention being to get links back to your site.
I mean, I wouldn't go at it with that intention necessarily, but I mean, it's sort of like common courtesy that if you accept guest articles, you know that there's going to be a link in there back.
Right.
So one of the things
we do, we talked earlier about people who do the contest, the photo contest every month. The top 3 people, based upon the votes from the people in the Facebook group, we put them in our show notes. And we do, have their photo, and we do a link back to whatever site they want us to. Some people it's Facebook and their website and their blog. Some people may be just Facebook, but most people are giving us their website. So that would be a link back for them.
Yeah. That's a link back.
Okay.
Now, what makes the linking even trickier is ideally you want that link back to your site. Instead of it saying, yourdomain.com, you want it to have your keyword in it.
Ooh.
So that's tricky. So how do you get that in there? How do you ask someone without being spammy to say, hey, can you, in the article, can you change that anchor text? That's what it's called. The text that you're seeing in the link. How do you change that? How do you get them to change that to be your keyword? So if your keyword is Boston wedding photographer, how do you get them to put the link to yourdomain.com to say Boston wedding photographer?
Yeah. Okay. So let me make sure I'm saying and understanding. So let's say that one of the people who were the winner was Boston wedding photographer.
Yep.
Would I need to have Boston wedding photographer as my keyword for the overall article, or could I have it related just to that link?
If you were publishing this announcement,
yeah,
and the winner of the contest was a Boston wedding photographer,
yeah,
the page that you're linking to their keyword that they're trying to rank for, should be Boston wedding photographer. So I can give you a good example. Okay. My homepage, the homepage of my site, ranks, it's number 2. It goes up from 1 and 2 for New Jersey photographer.
Okay.
Okay. So, when, in the show notes, I might ask you to say our guest was Scott Wyden Kivowitz. He was a New Jersey photographer, or he is a New Jersey photographer. And, I would ask you, hey, can you link New Jersey photographer to my website instead of putting scottwyden.com?
Okay.
So that way, the search engines are seeing that. They're seeing that, oh, he's linking, this website is linking to this website, and they're actually using this keyword, so it must be related. The website that they're linking to must be related to this keyword. Okay. So that is like the ultimate,
Yeah, the ultimate SEO juice.
Yeah. If you can get that, and you can get that from an authoritative site, a site that has enough credibility, you will rank extremely well. Okay, good.
So we want to rank extremely well. So now we're talking about posts and what we're doing inside of a post. Let's go, and we're going to mainly be talking here, probably not just mainly, but almost exclusively talking about WordPress. Mm-hmm. That's what most people use for the website. I'm sure there's some people who listen to this who don't, but we're not going to be able to cover everything. So we're going to cover WordPress and what plugin. Some of the themes you get come with their built-in SEO tools. Do you recommend using the themes built-in SEO, or is there a plugin that you recommend using?
Okay, so this is a really, really good question, and I know your theme uses it because the company I worked for before, Photocrati, uses the same exact theme, and they still do.
What theme am I using?
Karma.
Yeah, I love Karma, by the way.
Yeah.
I know. And now Scott's not using Karma, so he's actually found something better. But I have found that I'm like 3, because I think that I've looked back, and I'm not doing this on purpose, Scott. I'm not like a stalker of yours, but I've looked back, and it seems like whatever I'm on, you were on that 2 versions ago. Like I switched from one thing to the other, and look at this. I would find where you recommended this somewhere. It was what you were using, and I emailed you, I think, at one time, hey, I'm using the same thing as you. And yeah, I moved away from that two versions ago. But I'm following your footsteps. I'm just slower than you are.
Yeah. Well, see, I've gone through a lot of themes. I've been doing this for a long time, so I've gone through a lot of WordPress themes. I'm probably the pickiest photographer in the world. I would love to change. I just changed my site a couple days ago. I just changed some colors because I got bored of what I had. But that's the beautiful thing about the Photocrati theme, which is what I'm using now, is because I can change it like that. It looks very different, and it's the same site. I didn't change the theme. I just changed some color in the options, and it's done.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you look at, who was that? That was Danielle that's using the Photocrati theme. Mm-hmm. Her site is the Photocrati theme. It looks completely different than mine.
Yeah.
So, but okay, so
so hold on Photocrati, is it a website or is it a theme, or is it both?
It's a theme.
It's a theme.
It's a WordPress theme. Yep.
Okay.
So our theme does not have SEO meta settings in it. It is SEO optimized, but it does not have SEO control like some other themes do. The reason why is because we recommend using WordPress by Yoast. I'll put that in the chat.
And that's actually what we use at jpeg2RAW.
Yeah,
We use
WordPress SEO by Yoast.
And I have that pulled up where you can kind of see a little bit of it here. I'm trying to zoom in a little bit so people can see a little better. But yeah, WordPress, Yoast, WordPress SEO.
Yeah, so I've used a lot of SEO tools as well. I used to pay for a tool called Scribe, and it was fantastic. It let me do research, allowed me to optimize. It was great. Then all of a sudden, Juiced, that's actually who developed this plugin. His name's not really Yoast, it's Juiced. But he came out with WordPress SEO by Yoast, and already he had some optimization tools in it. And I was like, okay, so this is nice, but I'm going to use it in conjunction with Scribe because I still need Scribe. Maybe 4 updates later, he made Scribe void for me. The analysis tool in this plugin is amazing. It is absolutely fantastic. Yes, Scribe has even more features, but for the average person, WordPress SEO by Yoast is amazing. It's perfect, and it's free.
Yeah,
so
yeah, it's free.
You can't go wrong.
Now, you said analyst tool. So right now I'm actually looking at the the page, the plugin itself, I guess, where you can go and do all kind of different information like titles and meta. I think this is where maybe you set the titles and meta of.
Yeah, so that's like the main settings function. That's where you would set your default settings for the overall site and for individual pages and posts.
Okay. What I want to do though is look at an actual post. I don't, unless you wanted to go over anything in here that is important. I need to spend a little time on, or do you want to go straight to a post?
Let's go straight to a post because it sort of ties in together. What you do on an individual post is pretty much similar to what you would do on the overall site anyway.
Okay, that's what I thought. So I'm looking at a WordPress post, and I've come up kind of to the top. So I did not put the and in dash. That's just kind of what it does whenever you see it. And so I'm going to go below the post. So WordPress Yoast comes in right below the post. Normally it's a little bit bigger than this and goes off to the side, but I'm trying to zoom in a little bit so you can see it a little bit better. Do I need to zoom in a little bit more?
I can see it. It's a little fuzzy. I'm in the low bandwidth, so so it's a little fuzzy. But
I zoomed in a little bit more. Maybe that'll help people. It does make things wrap underneath it some, but so what do you want me? What do you want to see here?
Okay, so the first thing you can see is that you can see that under snippet preview, it's already showing you what this article will look like on search engines, on Google and Bing and Yahoo. So you can see the post title, and you can see the URL, and then the little description. So what happens is, typically, you will set the plugin to automatically grab your post title and the post excerpt, which is automatic from WordPress, and put that into what's called the meta title and meta description.
Right.
So your meta title is actually separate from your post title.
Yeah, maybe this will help. I'm going to go over to actually Google, and you can see here where it says show number 71, Michelle Moore, senior portrait photographer, and that's the show, I guess, the post title. And
yes.
This stuff below, professional senior photographer Michelle Moore, that is the meta description, right?
Correct. Yep. And what the beautiful thing about using this plugin is that you have complete control over what both of those look like. Okay? So the first thing you see is the snippet preview, which is amazing because you can already see what to expect. And then right below that is the focus keyword. Now, this is extremely important as you are optimizing a page or post. Your focus keyword is the one keyword that you want that page or post to rank well for. So as you can see, Mike already put in GPS tagging, and in the snippet preview, you can see the keyword, and in the description, the keyword is actually bold. Mm-hmm. Okay? And if you scroll down a little bit more...
How far do you want me to go?
Just down a little bit, just right below... Yeah. Okay, so now you can see. Actually go back up if you can. Can we squeeze in the?
Yeah, let me squeeze it out. And there's a little bit of a delay. So when you made it, what do you want to see at the top? Maybe that'll make it easier. You want to see your focus keyword was found in and all the rankings there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And then up down to the meta description. Okay. So you can see here that there's already a small analysis of that focus keyword and how it relates to the article. So you can see that it's in the article heading, which is what the post is called. So the actual post title is that QT1 or Q1 GPS tagging in Lightroom 4. It's a little fuzzy.
Wow, you can read that good. What you're looking at, yeah, that's what it says. QT1 GPS tagging in Lightroom 4.
Yep. So it already tells you that yes, it's in there. Great, you've already got one step done. The next one is page title. So that's actually going to be your SEO title. So you want that to be actually it's reversed. Sorry about that. It's reversed. So its page title is the actual post title or page title, and then article heading is your meta title. So I had that backwards actually. Then you can actually see that in the page URL that you've got the keyword in there as well. Okay. And I'll show you as we go through this. There's ways that you can even improve that part of the article. Okay. And then in the content, you can see that no, you do not have GPS tagging in the article. Yeah, so that right there.
I thought I did, so I don't know if I need to like tell it to redo it, or maybe I misspelled it and I don't have it in there.
It could be. It could be. And then below that, is the meta description, which is the box below at the bottom where you can see how to GPS tag your DSLR images in Lightroom using an app for your iPhone. GPS tagging the easy way.
Yeah,
I can read that.
I had to add GPS tagging the easy way to get GPS tagging to be in the meta description.
Yep. So, and okay, so I'm going to show you a little tip as well that'll even help this ranking well. And then, of course, I skipped over the SEO title, but you can change the title as well. And what's great is it even tells you your maximum characters and how many you have left. Mm-hmm. So if you go back to that Google, you'll see that actually got cut off. Your post title got cut off of that search that you had in Google with the example of one of the shows.
Michelle Moore. So, yeah. And I wonder if that's because I've zoomed in too much, though. Nope.
No, I don't think so. I think
it's not.
Well, it might be. It might be.
I zoomed back out and it didn't do it. I thought though. Let me go back to a normal zoom, if this will let me.
Well, you can see the Twitter one is a good example. The one at the bottom of that page. Yeah. You can see that the meta title from the tweet got cut off. I mean, it ends with "is," which would not be the end of a title.
Right. No, it did get cut off. So you can see show number 71, Michelle Moore, senior portrait photographer, and then ... meaning it got cut off.
Yeah. So if you go back to the edit post.
Mm-hmm. And is that because in the SEO title, I went too far?
Yeah. So probably a couple characters over, I would guess. It could be a couple words depending on how much comes after it, but most likely a couple characters. And it is very specific. This plugin is pretty precise. Okay. So now if you scroll up just a little bit, okay, and you click on Page Analysis, there's a Page Analysis tab. Yep. And this is where the fun really starts with this plugin. And you can see all the stuff you did wrong. This is what's great, because this plugin helps you teach yourself. It really does, because now that you know that the keyword does not appear in the first paragraph of your content, your text content, you know that from now on, you got to make sure that keyword's in the beginning. Yeah. So for example, in this, the first sentence could be, in this article, I'm going to teach you about GPS tagging.
And this is real good because it gives you color coded. It's a red. I guess that's maybe an orange or something, yellow, and then green. So you need to pay attention to everything that's not green, I guess.
Yep. And then what it does, the next thing is keyword density. So the longer your text content, the more times that keyword, GPS tagging, has to be in the article for that article to rank well. So what he's doing is basically giving you how many times it's there and what the density is. When you reach a certain point, like 1%, you gotta stop. It's not exactly 1%, it's around there. But what's nice is that he's basically telling you, you've got it in there too much or you don't have it in there enough. So you can add it in there where you see fit to make it optimized for that keyword better, your actual text content.
Because, right, you can have it too much and start to hurt yourself.
Exactly.
But this is really good. You just would run the page analysis again and be looking for all green dots.
Yep.
And I'd imagine at first it will be a pain. I got to go back and find where can I put GPS tagging more often. But you'll train yourself as you do this more often to do it right. Yep. And one thing I mentioned and before we went live was that we probably got 60 shows into it before I started really using Yoast. I looked at those things below the post as like, it looks like a lot of work and a lot of pain in the butt. I'm not going to deal with that now. I'm getting a bunch of red and yellows. It's going to be work to fix those. But then it probably was one of your posts I was reading somewhere that I said, you know what, I need to go back and do that. So the sooner you do this, and you could decide not to go back and do everything and just go forward, but the sooner you start doing it right by taking these into account, the better off you'll be.
Yep, definitely.
There's a lot more that goes into this than you really think about.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. But what's nice is that once you understand, like, what's the beautiful thing about this page analysis, it's really teaching you everything you need to know about the core components of SEO. So the sooner you know about it and understand it, the more fluent you'll get with actually just doing it. You won't think twice. It'll just happen.
Right.
So a couple things that you can see here. So the images are not tagged with your keyword. So your alt tag for your image. A lot of times when people upload images, the file name becomes the alt tag. So really, you can just once. It has to be in there once. The first image that's in the post, the alt tag should be GPS tagging.
That is very good because that is something I have not done at all. I have not done any photo tagging. Should I tag every photo that's in the post?
They should all be alt tagged with something, but one has to be the keyword, your focus keyword.
So in an instance where, let's say the people who win a contest and that kind of stuff, should I include their photo in there? Should I tag their photo with their keyword? Would that help them out at all?
Not with their keyword. You should tag it with their name, because most likely your keyword that you're trying to rank for could be their name, or could be the topic of the show. So tag it with the topic of the show. Okay. Whatever the keyword is.
Okay.
So the next thing is this is what is not the meta description is under 120 characters because that one you already know, but page title contains the keyword or phrase but does not appear at the beginning. Try to get it more towards the beginning. So somehow you want to get GPS tagging at the beginning of your post.
I can say GPS tagging the easy way. What I had at the end, move it to the beginning. Yes. Okay.
Yep. So, rearranging it, but the trick is I always say there's a fine line between SEO and user experience.
Right.
Because
you can't write an article.
Yeah, you can squeeze those keywords in there 100 times if you have to, but if it's not readable, then people won't read it, or they won't view the video, or whatever. So there's that fine line you have to consider. That's extremely important. And then no subheadings. So you're not using any H2 tags.
Okay.
Very overlooked a lot. It's just like people don't realize it. So if your title is GPS tagging the easy way, and you're doing a video, or let's say there's an episode where you're talking about GPS tagging, you can do an H2 tag, which is a subheader in WordPress and in HTML that says GPS tagging conversation from episode 40, whatever. so that that keyword is in the H2 tag towards the beginning, and that way you're getting, now your H1 is there, which is basically your page or post title, and you have an H2, which is also important for search engines to see.
All right, so I have another question for you.
Yep.
If all of us are doing this, how do we get ranked ahead of other people?
So, yeah, that's the tricky one. What's really, I mean, this is crucial stuff to do this. The basic components are extremely simple, are extremely important. So there's two things that you can do that will help you outrank. One, actually there's three, yeah, I guess two things. Understanding author rank. So understanding how social media comes into the mix. Okay? And two, guest post. Get links back to your site, because not everyone's going to do it. Your competitors won't be doing it because they know that it's time consuming.
Right.
But if you can do it, you outrank them. And if you don't have the time to do it, hire someone who does.
Okay.
You know, so you can hire someone, you know, on Elance or one of those virtual assistant websites to just, you know, write me an article about this. Give them some bullet points and say, write an article on this.
How much does something like that cost?
Whatever you want to charge, you put it out there saying, you know, I need an article written for, I'll pay you $15. You know, whatever it is.
Okay. Samantha out in chat was saying someone quoted her $400 a month to have my SEO optimization worked on a month. Yeah.
Yeah. We get that question a lot too. Yeah. So we own a website called the Photographer's SEO Community, and we have an ebook and some videos and courses and stuff. And it's $100 a year. So for $100 a year versus $400 a month, you could pretty much do the same thing, except for $100 a year, you're learning about it and implementing it yourself, which in my opinion is better, because who doesn't want to learn something that's valuable for their business?
Right. Absolutely. You know, the whole thing about teach a man to give a man a fish or teach a man to fish.
Right.
Yeah.
So the company I was at before I left for Photocrati, I was doing all the SEO for them and whatnot. And since I left, I still consult with them, but they hired an SEO company to take care of all what I was doing, and it's expensive.
Yeah.
You know, it's getting the job done. They just don't have an employee on premise to do what I was doing. You know, so I would say save the money and either pay for courses or buy ebooks or something and learn it. I mean, on the show, you're already learning some of the most important stuff just from this.
And you know, and speaking of that, you have two things that we're going to give away. We're not going to give it away tonight because we're going to ask you to do something. But you have two things that you're going to give away related to SEO. So you want to go over those real quick?
Yeah. So at the Photographer's SEO Community, we have what's the SEO for Photographers book. We call it the Bible for photographers for SEO, and it's a pretty big book that covers everything you need to know, and it's I think it's around, I don't even know the exact price. I think it's like $39. I'm just double checking that. So I'm going to give that book away.
Okay.
And in addition, we also have, if anyone's ever, it's $39. We have a course on Udemy. Udemy is a virtual class website. And we've got an SEO for Photographers course. And a couple of our other books that we have available are included in that course, plus some exclusive videos and whatnot. And we're giving that course away, and that's $47, I think, for that course. So we're giving one lucky winner will win both of those, the ebook and the virtual course.
Oh, okay, so one winner is going to win both items.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
And then we'll do the same thing for the Photocrati stuff.
Okay.
As well.
Okay, so what do they need to do to win or be eligible to win?
Yep. So one of the best ways to write a blog article is to answer questions, and that's my favorite way of writing a blog article. And I can show you a really good example of that method. If you're ever looking for a way to find blog articles to write, this is a great way to do it. So the best way is to answer questions. So what I want is for people to send me questions, and I will answer those questions in blog articles if it's something that warrants that sort of in-depth answer. And the best question asked will win those 2 products.
Okay. And do they send it? Where do they send it to?
They can send it to scott@photocrati.com.
Scott@photocrati.com. Tim, can you put that out?
Can you just write that in the chat so I can copy and paste that, Scott?
Sure.
This way I have the spelling correct. There you go. Thank you.
Awesome.
Yep.
So they need to send you their SEO question?
Yep, send me your SEO question. Put in the subject something like, jpeg2RAW SEO question or something like that. Just reference the show so I know that it came from here.
Okay. And we probably should let the people who get the recorded version have a chance also, because that's most
Yes.
people who listen to the recorded version. So let's put a timeline on this. Is maybe the end of March? Would that be okay?
Yeah. I think
or is that too far?
the last day of March is a good deadline.
Okay. So you have the last day of March to send Scott an email at scott@photocrati.com, and we'll have the link in the show notes. So you're probably not going to get it from the way I just announced it, but we'll have the link in the show notes, and we'll put it on maybe our Facebook group and Facebook page too, also, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
And then that way, you send your question and you enter to win one of the 2 things Scott just mentioned. Awesome.
Would you like to see what I mean by a great way to write an article based on questions?
Sure. Is there
Okay, so the Photocrati blog, I'm going to put the link in the show notes. Let me pull it up. We did it recently. We get a lot of questions about backing up and security.
Okay.
And I mean a lot of questions. So our support team, who is fantastic, got a little overwhelmed with the amount of the same question over and over again. So they sent me a bunch of the questions and asked me to address them. So I just threw it in the show notes. I basically did an intro on the subject and then literally answer the questions. And when you do something like this, I'm answering your questions right now. It's the same thing you can do in the blog article. I could just write them out, and it just flows out of you because it's natural to answer questions.
Right, and I got it pulled up now on the page too.
Great. So yeah, I mean, it's been a very popular article already, and you can see Tim in the chat already read that.
Yeah, I know Tim had some trouble with his website a while back where he did get hacked. I got hacked with base64 code maybe a year ago, and my backup was too old, and I had to bring back I think it was PHP file, every single PHP file onto my site, my computer, and manually remove the base64 code from every single one of them. It was over 1,000 different files I had to manually edit.
It's
Don't tell me there's an easier way. I don't want to know. If there is, I don't want to know now, because I already did the work.
Restoring, if you don't have a good backup, like a recent backup, it's a pain in the butt no matter what.
Yeah.
But my brother, there's a script called Tinthum that Google hosts, or used to host, that a lot of WordPress themes used, and a lot of them still do.
Yep. And
it was very vulnerable. And my brother has a server where he hosts a lot of other websites, and although he didn't have Tinthum in his theme, a site on his server, which is no longer used, it was just still there, got hacked because it was up on the internet somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And it got to his site through it. So anything's possible. So anything you can do to prevent, your site from being hacked is gonna help you. And if your site's hacked, it's gonna hurt your SEO. Search engines are going to see it. If your site goes down, it's going to hurt your SEO. Search engines will not see your site, so they'll know.
Right.
In fact, recently Bing said in a webinar, if they don't see a certain page or post, if they don't see a URL for 2 crawls, 2 times for Bing going to look for it, they will remove you from Bing.
Wow.
That one URL, it will be removed from Bing, which can be good for, for when URLs no longer exist. But if your site is down and you don't realize it for, a couple weeks, your site could be removed.
Wow, that's horrible. Now, going back, because we're running short on time, going back to the WordPress by Yoast, let me pull that back up. There's 2 other tabs that we didn't go over, and maybe they don't deserve as much of attention, but I want to at least mention it. There's the Advanced tab and then the Social tab. The Advanced tab, I've never actually fooled with that tab.
I use the Advanced a lot. I use it on when I do proofing for clients.
Okay. Because
I use a Photocrati product called NextGen Gallery to do my proofing for clients. And I don't want that seen by search engines. I want that only seen by the client.
Okay.
So I will choose no index, I will choose no follow, and I will not let it be in my sitemap.
Okay.
And by doing that, it's blocking it from search engines. So index means yes, index me, put me in this in search engines. No follow is sort of the same thing, and sitemap is if you're using a sitemap, don't include it.
Okay, so those are things if you didn't want to. If this is a normal post, is it something you can ignore the Advanced tab? Or
yeah. If you're doing a normal poster page, just ignore it.
Okay. What about social?
Okay, so the WordPress SEO by Yoast has Open Graph and Twitter card functionality. Open Graph is when you click on the like button on a site and then go to Facebook, and you'll see that there's a graphic that shows up with your with the page.
Yes.
That you liked. So that's Open Graph. And Twitter card is a new thing that's not open to the public yet, but it basically includes information about you with the tweet. And so what social is you can actually create a description, like a meta description, specific to Facebook and Google+.
Can you change the graphic?
The graphic is based on your featured image.
Okay.
So that featured image on the bottom right of the screen right now?
Yeah.
That graphic is based on that.
But I can change what I want for the text. That's awesome. I didn't know that.
Yep. So you can have it say something completely different. Yep.
Wow. Well, I hope the people out in chat and people listening later learn something, because I know I did.
Yeah, there is actually that. Remember I mentioned before the show I wanted to show you something that'll help your site?
Absolutely, yes.
So
we'll end on that one. So that sounds like a good way to
Okay.
end. But I think, Scott, we're going to have you back sometime to talk about SEO. This sounds like something we can spend a lot of time on. And I hope that after the show we can go into our Facebook group, everybody listening, and let's continue discussion about SEO. Because if you have a web page, once you start digging into some of these, I'm sure you're going to have more questions. Save those, send them to Scott so you can enter his contest there. But also put them in our Facebook group, so let's discuss them there.
So I just want to pull up a recent article just so I can show you what I'm going to be about to be talking about.
Okay.
So everybody in the chat, how many people do video blogging ever?
I'll raise my hand. I do.
No one. I don't think anyone's replied yet, right?
Well,
I'm not
yeah,
looking at the chat yet,
there's a delay between when we say it and they hear it.
Okay.
Never know. I
Don't. Okay.
But I'm sure somebody listening does. Maybe the people from Afghanistan.
Yeah. So video blogging is actually really good for business. Not just for SEO, but for business. If you can do videos on your site, you're going to increase conversions. You're going to get people to contact you more.
Okay.
Guaranteed. So if you do a Google search right now for what I just put into the chat, that's an article that we just published today on the Photocrati blog, and hopefully the Photocrati. Oh no, actually, you know what? That's not a good example. Is it? Nope, that's not a good example. Sorry. Let me see if I can find a better.
I don't want to pull up any. I better get off. I don't want to pull up any kind of like porn or anything here.
No. Okay, here we go. All right. So if you actually put in, hold on.
Got to keep my clean rating on iTunes.
I want to find a really good example because otherwise it's not so good.
And no, Gina, I don't wish to pull that up in the live show. That would not be good. I'd have to edit it out. I could not put that up on iTunes.
Okay, so let's try this. If you do a search for that, WordPress plugins for photographers,
Right.
and pull up the what you get on the screen.
Rockstar WordPress photo themes made just for photographers. The top one, photokarate.com. Is that the one you want me to go to?
No, just scroll down. Start scrolling down. I'll tell you when to. You're gonna have to go a little slow, of course, because of the delay. But
That looks like a picture of a guy I know.
so eventually, you should see an article that has a video preview with it.
Is that the best WordPress?
Like right there. See that one, the HH Color Lab?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, so that is called Video SEO. Okay, so what this does, it's an add-on for WordPress SEO by Yoast. It's $60 add-on that adds video SEO functionality to your articles. So if you embed a video from YouTube, like the podcast,
Yeah.
you're adding new video control and new video tweaks that you can do for the article to optimize it for video audiences. So if someone sees a video snippet, a little image, they're more likely to click on it than they would without anything.
Right, that makes sense.
Oh, that's awesome. So is that the one you recommend? Or is there one that you recommend that says best WordPress plugins for photographers? Sounds like there's going to be more than one when I click on that.
Oh, there's going to be more than one there, yeah, for sure. But the reason why I just showed you that one is I knew that something would come up.
Yeah.
But the plugin is Video SEO by Yoast. So it's literally it's just an add-on. You would install this plugin on the side of WordPress SEO by Yoast, and just by enabling it, you'll have added video features in that page analysis and in the options for when you're editing the post.
All right. Yeah. There. Personal site is $69.
Yep.
Personal single site is $69. Yeah, that's something I need to look into because we do videos every now and then.
Yeah, every so often.
All right. That's a lot of good information. Hopefully you guys out in chat kept up. If you didn't, send your questions to. You hear all those beeps going on? I think that's beeps going on the Facebook page. I don't know if y'all heard that or not. Yeah, good. I'm glad y'all didn't hear, but I'm hearing beeps all over my head, which is probably people heading out to the Facebook page and talking about it out there. Hopefully. And Scott, we thank you for coming back. I think we definitely need to have you come back again because this is a subject that you can talk a long time about. We just touched the surface of it tonight, and hopefully you people who are using WordPress go out there and get the WordPress what was it called again? I forgot all of a sudden. Yoast.
Yep.
Yep. WordPress SEO by Yoast. Go get that. It's a free plugin. You can add it to your WordPress theme, just about any WordPress theme. If you have an SEO plugin already running, or maybe the one with your theme, you may have to disable that one and use this one instead. But go out. What are you gonna? Do you have a comment about that?
Actually, one of the advantages of that plugin is that it does have an importer feature to go from some of the other popular ones that are out there to his. So you could transform. If you're already using one, you could import it depending on if it's compatible with the plugin.
Okay, so and you look at that download it and play with it. And once you get into it, you might have some more questions. And Danielle said, every time I say that, my computer is going off. So do I have the power to say words and turn your computer off? I would love that. What is the word I can say? Computer off. I don't know what she means by that. Maybe she'll type in, or maybe I just turn the computer off and she can't respond. Anyway, Scott, thank you for coming out. We learned a lot tonight. I got to go back and do some editing for my some of my previous posts, and maybe you can look over the one I do for this post and get it and help me get it even better. And you know, I like to get this one at least right, and then go forward, because now I'm excited to go back and play with some of these things, and I want to look at that video, Yoast. So if you want to go back, some of this stuff I know was a little fuzzy in the live feed, but the recorded version is going to be much cleaner. We'll have it up on YouTube, on iTunes, and all those other places in a few days. If there's a place where you want to get it and you don't find the show, let me know and I'll try and get it installed there too. So I wanted to make it as easily as available for everybody as I can. If you have any questions for Scott, send them at scott@photokarate.com. Did I say it right?
Yes, you did.
Okay. And we'll have Scott's links up on the show notes and everything, so you can get in touch with him too. You have to the end of March to send him your questions about SEO, and then you'll be entered to win the items that Scott mentioned tonight. And Tim, did you get the information on the items so I can put it in the show notes?
On the contest?
Yeah.
Yes, the SEO for Photographers ebook and the course on Udemy, but I'm sure I have no clue if I spelled that correct.
I don't think you did, but I
I'll
actually
send you links.
Okay, yeah, if you can send us links, that'll help out.
I was trying to look for links for it, and I was like,
So next week, be sure to come out and listen when we have a guy, Greg. I don't know his last name, and actually I have a pre-show interview with him in about 10 minutes. We're doing Topaz Labs next week. He's going to come on and do some demos for us on Topaz Labs, on some of the software there. And we are going to be doing some giveaways live on the show next week. So be sure to come out and listen to Topaz Labs. If you've never seen some of their software before, they do have some very interesting software. If you're not following Scott already, he is very active on Google+. That's where I follow you. Are you also active on Facebook, or is it mainly Google+?
Facebook, Google+, Twitter, Pinterest. I'm pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, I should mention I also follow you on Twitter. I see you mostly on Twitter and Facebook. Twitter and Google+. That's where I'm mostly following you from. And if you're not already following him, I advise you to follow him, because he posts a lot of helpful stuff through all of those avenues, through Twitter, through Facebook, through Google+. And I know when I see something come up from Scott, I'll always click on it to go see what it is, because he shares a lot of good information. Tim, I know where people can find you and I. If that ever changes for you, you let me know. But if you need to get in touch with either one of us, it's pretty easy. podcast@jpeg2RAW.com, or just go to our Facebook page or our Facebook group, and we'll get back in touch with you. And we're trying to work on a closing here, Tim. So I'm gonna try this one. It's got to feel natural. If it doesn't feel natural, something like "Where My Peeps At?" If it doesn't feel something like that,
Yeah, that won't work in July either.
No, I'm wearing it because it's almost Easter, right? Isn't Easter
right?
almost
But in July, "Where My Peeps At?" ain't gonna work.
Did you see me wear it in July?
Hopefully not.
No, I've been saving this shirt to wear. If I wear it next week, will you notice? I might want to wear it next week too.
Yeah, next week might be good. I'll have to find some sort of bunny shirt or something.
All right, so here's the ending that I'm going to try this week, and we'll see. But I already feel like it's not going to come out natural, so I don't think this is going to be very good.
It's not good already.
I know. All right, until next week, keep it raw.
Oh, there you go. I actually like that.
Okay, we'll keep trying that. Gina Perry out there saying, "Do it." All right, guys, out in chat. Thank you for coming. We'll see you next week.
Good night, everyone.
Don't forget to send your questions to Scott. Good night, everybody. And I'm going to go ahead and stop the live recording. So we're going to cut you off. We'll see you next week, everybody, out in chat.